Ba-ba-bum. 2, 1, 2. All right. So I uploaded the video. This is set to, not set to private, it's just unlisted right now. So you should be able to see this video, the jam. Actually, what I was pretty disciplined when I recorded it. My hair is crazy, isn't it? It was like, I was pretty disciplined when I recorded it. Sticking pretty much to eighth notes in the strumming. I don't think I played a single 16th note. Ergo, when I sped it up to double speed, which actually is about the right speed, so 200 is probably the more correct speed for Wildwood Flower. When I did that, I have to turn it up a little bit because it does go down in volume, but 2, 1, 2. So yeah, I'll put the link here too, so we have it here, and then I'll also put the link. I'll pin the Discord join link. Although almost everybody, it's only towards the end of the of the live stream do we get a lot of people, new people. So I wish I knew a way to get immediately to the top of this window. It's like, oh man. Of course, I could always just copy the link and put it somewhere else. I always have to go to the same. Okay, so here's the join link for Discord. It's free. It's for anyone who wants more. You know, can you all the PDFs, if you go back, you see all these diagrams. All that stuff is in Tom's. All that stuff is up in the Discord under Tom's PDFs and bookmarks or something. PDFs and lesson files, I think is what it's called. Um, don't worry about it, Michael. And then, yeah, so let me just say hellos. Holly, how you doing? Let me get there we go. That's a little bit better. Let's see, Dennis. Oh, look at that. The first 3 comments were from the 3 moderators. You guys are so faithful. In fact, like the first 8 comments are from the moderators. Everybody just saying hi to each other. Roger, good morning. Let's see. Bruce, I enjoyed the video on the installation of the frets. It particularly made me feel guilty for you doing all that work. It seems so tedious. But it looks like a labor of love. So let's see. yeah, Holly's like, well, we got the moderators. At least you guys are here. Ed, welcome. Sam, welcome. Michael, don't worry about it. You know, some of my best guitar playing is done without the guitar in my hand. So, you know, it's I definitely come up with some of my best ideas when I don't have the guitar in my hand. Oftentimes I'm driving. Oftentimes I'm in the shower or I'm walking and I go, oh, that would be cool on guitar. Some of my best concepts come when I don't have the guitar in my hand. Oftentimes when I've got the guitar in my hand, I tend to think thoughts that I've already thought before or play things that I've already played before. And whenever you take the tool away from you, you will think of new ways of using that tool oftentimes. Dan, good to see you. Dan's local. Jeff Hook, good to see you. Hope everybody's not freezing too much. John Y, good in Louisville. Good to see you. Sam's in Michigan. Michael, I'm not sure. Michael Houghton, where you're from. Paul Myers is outside Chicago. Good to see you. Welcome. Also, and Sam, so I did the song in the Wildwood Flower in G, because that's the way the Carter family did it. But again, when you watch Mabel play, she's actually playing in C with the capo at the 7th fret, which is interesting. Right now I have it set to double speed. It actually sounded really pretty good. At the double speed, which normally it sounds kind of underwatery, but for some reason it sounds better. Normal speed is really slow, and that was really hard to do. In fact, I'm rushing a little bit. Really hard to play a bluegrass song at 100 beats per minute. I mean, like I said, if you go to Flat Pick Apprentice, the slowest speed he has for a practice track for Wildwood Flower is 150. And I think he goes up to 240 at 5 BPM increments, I think, something like that. Oh, Michael, you're in Los Angeles too. Okay, that's right. I knew that. Let's see. 4 degrees under Dennis. Oh my goodness. Well, we had rain this morning, which was lovely. I should have turned off. I didn't know we were going to have rain. I would have turned off my sprinklers last night. I may turn them off tonight just for a night, but yeah. So Chicago tends to do that in February. February tends to be that month where everybody gets pretty tired of being in the cold. Ergo, snowbirds. Paul, do you have a place in Florida, or do you have a plan to get a place in Florida? That seems to be what everybody does. Now, Bruce, did you have your place in Florida? Because I think you're from New Hampshire or Vermont, I think, if I remember. I know you're from New England somewhere originally. And then you lived in Virginia for a while because you got tired of the cold, I think, if I'm getting your history correct. But did you have your place in Florida at the same time? What's the word I'm looking for? Concurrently with your places up north? A lot of people did that. My grandparents didn't. They moved from Chicago to Naples. When they retired in 1966, I think, 67, maybe 68, they just bought a place on a canal in Naples. It was awesome. We used to go down there every spring break. My grandfather had a boat and we would take it out on the ocean. It was so much fun. We'd go we'd go fishing. We'd catch a lot of grouper. That was the big fish down there. Well, my daughter is an hour out of Louisville right now. She's going to Louisville for something. I forget why. Maybe a wedding. Is it? Yeah, it is a weekend, so she might be going to Louisville for a wedding. And she's been very, very cautious on the roads. Wow. Oh, you actually can control your humidity? That's cool, AJ. Maybe send me, post a link to the humidifier on Amazon or something. Or is it set in your house? 66 with your wife's birthday. Oh, you're in Southeast Florida. Okay. So that's where my grandparents were. No, you're in Southeast. I'm sorry. So they were in Southwest. For some reason, I was imagining you on the Panhandle, Bruce, but do you miss the Northwest at all or Northeast at all, Bruce? Hey, D-Roo, what's going on? Good to see you. Oh my goodness, you may have to move north to be closer to family, Paul. I'm sorry. Although I do have I don't know if you remember Brad Ray, was a drummer in my band in high school. He lives in, I think, northern Wisconsin. And he loves it. They love it. I don't know, man. I mean, as much as I'm indoors, I wonder if it would even matter where I lived, as long as I can control the temperature of my house. Okay, it's hooked up to the furnace. Okay, so it's an official like thing. It's not just something you put in your room. Oh yeah, because I got 43% right now, but that's probably because it rained. The new humidifier I bought for my office, because I moved my office one to the bedroom to battle my headaches, which works like a charm. The one in this office, man, it's not as big, and it just doesn't. It lasts like 1 day, and it's empty, and I always forget to fill it up. So it turns itself off though, which is good when it's empty. But I gotta remember to fill it up every day, which my life is so hard. No, I'm just kidding. Quentin, what's going on? Billings, oh, that's awesome. God bless you. I mean, people are moving up in those places a lot right now. It seems, especially from states like California that went complete lockdown. It's like, yeah, I'd rather open a restaurant in Montana than in California. I've been to Madison. I have a memory in Madison. Yeah, you know what? Not that big. Oh my gosh! Okay, so remind me, Holly, to tell the Madison story. I'll try to remember it. Remember more details, so it's a more fun story. I think there's a couple details that happened. It was the first time I ever had to evacuate a hotel in the middle of the night for a fire alarm. Have you ever had to do that? We had a hotel across the street from the state capitol, so our view from our rooms was the state capitol. It was a great view. But I'll tell the story after. But remind me, Holly. Jay Baker, good to see you. You're 30 miles from Canada. Okay. You get Canada. We can get Mexican radio stations sometime. In fact, I think, what's it called? The Pirate is a Mexican radio station, because they only allow, 50,000 watts here in the U.S., but in Mexico, either they don't have restrictions or something. Like, it's 200,000 watt radio station on the other side of the border. So you can get the Pirate, which actually really was a good station back in the 80s and 90s. I don't know what it's like now. I haven't listened to it. Lena's in Nevada, a state that I haven't really explored much. I really want to go to Lake Tahoe. I hear that's really cool up there. to do some more U.S. travel because the international travel might be restricted for a while. And so we might explore some, like, you know, as Holly knows, I've never been to Yosemite. I want to stay at that really nice hotel there, the famous hotel. But it's always full. You know, it's always expensive, but it's always. But Holly, you said your daughter manages a hotel just outside of there, so we could do one night in the expensive hotel and then one night at your daughter's hotel. It'd be kind of fun. All right, and somebody went crazy. I don't know if it was one of you. Somebody went crazy on Amazon, and I appreciate it. Spent several $100s on a couple guitars and stuff. So that was a nice little bonus. I appreciate that. 25 watching? Come on, we can do better than that. So Paul or Sam, what's interesting is the Carter family did this in G, yes. However, I keep finding people doing it in C. So I'm thinking that I might also do a jam track in the key of C, because I'm finding that a lot of people do. There was a version of it. The guy from the Punch Brothers, one of the guitar players from Punch Brothers, I can't think of his name right now. He did a version just playing his friend's guitar, his 1937 D28, and it's just really cool. You know, but he did this cool thing where I love that, getting that flat third in there. Which is funny because, yeah, over the C chord. So kind of doing the kind of a minor pentatonic, but really not, just that one note. It's like you went something like that. So it was and then the F chord he played again was just this. So let's all try this one, okay? Basically like playing an E chord with these three fingers, okay, and slide up a fret and add your first finger here. Not even barring, because you're really just getting those middle strings because he's playing. Going to the C chord. So if you go from C to this, basically would be an F over C. So let's practice that right now. I think that's a really good thing to practice. So what I'm playing is X. Let's go C. Do this. Let's go X 3 2 0 1 X. That's the C. 2 F X 3 3 2 1 X. Okay. This is a good little bluegrass kind of vibe. Yeah, exactly. In using the G shape, no, that would be capo 5. If you're used to playing using the G shape. If you wanted to play in the key of C using G shapes, you would capo at the here. Yeah, so what was that guy's name? Let me look it up real quick. I'll post a video of his little plane. His little plane. It sounded so condescending. Hold on a second. YouTube. Dang, it's crazy. I bought this stock Beely. I wish I'd bought more of it. I was researching a couple of years ago Chinese media companies like Netflix. I was thinking, oh, you know, it would be smart to buy as the Netflix of China. Hold on a second. Where's that? Where would I put that? Here. Hold on a second. I gotta find this. Oh, here it is. Dang it. Library. They move it. They move it to. Okay. Gosh, I've watched a lot of videos since I watched this video yesterday. That's crazy. Here it. Chris Eldridge. Okay. So. I have to pause this. Let me share this. So this is. I really like it the way he played this, and he did some turnarounds in there. Of course, you know it's a very simple song. So this is the Chris Eldridge version. So check that out later. Open that up. You don't need to check it out now, but really cool, beautiful sounding guitar. So yeah, so I was researching like what's the Netflix of China, and it turns out to be this company IQ. So I bought some of that and split it up over a couple of different accounts, brokerage accounts, and it's just not. It's been. I've lost money on not a lot. I mean, you don't lose if you don't sell, and I still believe in it. I still think it's a pretty good company. They keep adding assets, so I think eventually at some point it'll do well. But I'm not recommending stocks. I don't recommend. I recommend getting into the market, but I don't recommend specific stocks. But Beely was also. I read an article that listed like 5 companies, Chinese media companies, and I looked at Beely and I went, oh, okay, that's interesting. Stupid stock. I paid like $12 for it. I wish I'd bought more. I wish I'd reversed the position and bought as many shares of Beely that I did of IQ, the other way around. But I basically bought a bunch of IQ and I went, oh, I have some money left over. Let me throw it at this thing because it's only $12 a share. It's $150 a share now, just in like a year and a half. It's been one of those stocks, and it's continuing. Beely's kind of the YouTube of China. You can even go to beelybely.com and kind of click around a little bit, but they restrict it because you're not in China. But it's still a huge market, obviously. And so that, yeah, kind of got into that. So, hey, Sham, what's going on? No, on that, no, I wouldn't worry about it. You could if you wanted to. If you, Paul, I'm sorry, Paul, you're asking me, does the first finger cover 2 strings on the F chord? No, it doesn't have to. You're going to be kind of tightly, you're going to be playing in, because the melody goes like that in the key of C. And the key of C is up there, okay? I don't have the simplified version, the 1.1 version of the key of C, but this is up in the Discord. So if you go to the Discord of my PDFs and lesson things, this one's up there too. It's 3 of these ago because I did this one, uploaded it. Then I did this one, which is just the same one, only transposed to G. And then I simplified and got rid of the licks in between the melody. So this is purely just the melody for the most part. Yeah. And at 100, I'll play it here. I'll play along with the jam track at 100. Make sure I'm at the right. Yeah. So at 100, 1, 2, 1, 2. Pretty darn slow. You can see pretty darn slow, but it's a great place to, if you're, just a beginner, very beginner, and that may even be too fast. You can slow it down. Obviously, you can slow it down to 75 beats per minute, or 50, or even 25. I don't think that would be play. I think the beats would be too far apart for you to keep track of where you are. But you can practice this, and if you, and that's another thing too. I really do recommend. Let's say you've got this down. Let's say you've got it memorized. Okay. Little thing you can do to help. You can kind of trick your brain is go ahead and play it while still looking at the music, but instead of looking at the tab, look at the music. Okay. So you have it memorized. Sharp in the morning, G. Okay, so you can kind of, you're not really reading music, but you're kind of tricking your brain into at least following along with the music, and then eventually it'll start to make sense. Ultimately, I think music makes far more sense than tab, but tab is a great tool for guitar because, the melody you can play in a lot of different places, Oops. I could play that part of the melody in 3 different places. If you're analyzing what someone else has already done, it definitely comes in handy because you go, oh, you know what? They didn't play it in the place I thought they played it here. I would have played it here, but they actually, so they could do X, Y, or Z. And that, again, you might change where you play something for the tone, but you might not notice that when you're listening to someone else play it unless you saw the tab. So, yeah. It's technically a second inversion F, exactly right. 5th on the bottom. But if you got a bass player, if there's an upright bass player, just go. It's a nice little, to me, it's almost like a comfort chord. It feels good in the hand, If you want to, you can bar your first finger. Paul, if you want to, that's what Paul was asking about. You can bar your first finger. And then if you want to, you can bring your thumb around. That's harder, but eventually get that thing going. And we talked about this just Wednesday. The trick about doing the F chord with the capo, take the capo, maybe put it at the 7th fret and play the F shape chord. Try see if you can get it down there because you've got several things working for you. The strings are lower, which makes it easier to play. They're at fret height instead of at nut height. The frets are smaller, they're closer together, so that makes it easier for a lot of people. And also your arm you're not out here as much where your arm is going to be bent weird or whatever. You can bring your arm into your elbow into your body, and you got this nice little shape. So some of you might be able to make this, but not this, okay? But if you can get that down, then just go down a fret and make this. And then if you got that down, go down a fret and make this. And before you know it, it's a great trick, actually. Before you know it, you can play this, right? Now the drag about the big F bar chord is that you don't have any fingers, any spare fingers to do any licks. You don't with this chord either, but at least you can get that open G string. See, I'm taking, that would be like an F2, no third over C, okay? I mean, again, the name, it's funny because the other one's an F over C, but if I take off that second finger and open up that G string, it's technically an F2 parentheses no third parentheses over C. Oh, I said, yeah, F over C. So that sounds more complex than F over C, but it's actually a little bit easier. So you can't judge a chord by its name. That's E minor 7 at 11. You could win a bar bet with that. Hey, I bet you play guitar? No, I can't play a lick. I bet you can play an E minor 7 11 chord. Oh, I bet you I can't. And you just go, here, strum this. You go to a one-arm man and bet him that. Okay, that's just mean. But I have a story about a one-armed man at church when he was sitting in the front row and I was saying, everybody put your hand together like I didn't finish the word. I started to say hand, and Alex knew. Alex was playing with me, and he was watching me, and he goes, "Oh, you're gonna mess up, aren't you, Dad?" I said, "Yeah, I saw the guy in the front row, and he's missing an arm." And I'm like, how do you? I don't know what to say, and got a few hundred people there, and I'm like, put your hands together. So, I mean, he knew he didn't have an arm, so I wasn't telling him something he didn't already know. Yeah, you could call it a sus2 chord. I usually think, John, I usually think of a sus2 chord as having a third in it. But we could have an argument about that. Like, I would think of this as a sus2 chord, which is a very difficult chord. It's like... I think of that as being a sus2 chord or a 2 chord. I simplified it in the 80s when I was teaching. Because remember, when I was teaching, I had 30 minutes to figure out a song, get it down on paper, and get the student playing it. So speed was of the essence, and so shorthand came about. But that F sus2, you could say that's shorthand for no third. F2 no third, maybe. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that. But I would call it just an F2 chord, and I would play this 1 3 5 2 1 1, which is like really hard. It's a great chord. Like I said, it's easier in the E. Everybody does this A2 chord, but there's no third in that either. And the problem with that, you don't know if that's A major or A minor. If that's the first chord of the song, you don't know if you're in a... There's no third in that chord. So technically that's an A2 no third, or A sus2 no third, or something. I missed something. The meaning of your name. Shambabi? Shambabi. Nice. That's cool. We've talked about what my name means. Strahle. Strahle. Dennis knows. Strahle means like... Dennis, you speak enough German, I think, to... Hey, Louisiana's here. Dennis, I think, knows Strahlen is Strahleman is smiling man, which is hilarious because I kind of live up to that, to my name. But Strahle could mean rays or beams of light, lasers, yeah, exactly. Rays of sun. Strahle, I think it could be used many different ways. And so Strahleman would be like man of rays or smiling man, okay? My middle name is Engel, E-N-G-E-L, which is German for angel. And so it could mean that I'm an angel of light, which biblically would make me Satan. The angel of light was Satan in the Bible, so I'm like, I'm not claiming that. Sunshine. Okay, so Strahle means shine. That's really cool. Thank you, Dennis. Sonnenstrahle. I'm going to screenshot that, Dennis, and send it to my kids. The ironic thing about it is that Strahle's not even my last name. Why would you change your name to Strahle? It was my grandfather, my dad's dad, was adopted by his stepdad. And so that's how he became Strahle. He was originally Friedebaum. It's also very German sounding name. Arnab, what's going on? Good to see you. Strahle is the sunshine of guitar. Yeah, I don't know about that. Only if I've had my coffee. There ain't no sunshine without coffee. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. All right. So, we're goofing off. So Wildwood Flower. So I did the jam track, and like I said, it was very difficult to do that jam track because it's so slow. But I did manage to stick to eighth note strums. You know, I was tempted to kind of double time at some point or whatever. I didn't. So it actually sounds pretty good when you speed it up to 200. When I speed it up to 200, it actually is really close to probably the right speed. In other words, if you go take the speed, the gear that is on the video at the bottom right-hand side, there's a little gear, and that's settings, and you can change the playback speed to 2, and that would double time it. Okay, so your goal should be to get it up to that speed. All right, just the melody. You don't need to be able to solo over it. Although, ultimately, obviously, your goal should be to get it up to that speed soloing wise too. Why does it seem so dark in here? It just seems too dark. I'm gonna move the light down a little bit. If it could result in too bright, but. We'll see how that works. I mean, it might be better or worse. We'll see. It seems better on my hands. Oh, E-N-G-E-L. Engel. It's German for Engel. It is Friday. Okay, so so the chord progression is the one above, and again the one up right up here, and again the thing about this song that's different is that it's got those 5-bar phrases. It's kind of a breathing bar, I would call it, or something. And I would also say it's probably based on the fact that I touched my face so we can take a sip. That a lot of the musicians in Appalachia and things like that, they didn't really know about, oh, well, it should be 4 bars per phrase, you know. Those kind of rules they wouldn't be maybe schooled in. And so you end up with more interesting songs sometimes when you, obviously, any cutting edge song is going to be cutting edge because it ignored rules. The Beatles, I don't know that they ever ignored rules because everything they did for the most part had been done before in some way, shape, or form, harmonically speaking anyway. But one of the things that happened was so many songs back when the Beatles were just simple 1, 6, 4, 5 progressions. That was like the chord progression of the late 50s. So many people So many songwriters just basically use that as a formula, which is the same as today, you know, or the 90s was kind of that, and then the what was it? What's the pop formula for today? I'm trying to think of what it's like. Maybe the same, kind of a 6-4-5-1, maybe. Very common pop progression. But the Beatles really very rarely did anything that was common. They always were doing things that they listened to a lot of music through the years growing up, and so they were going, oh, well, you know what, that minor 4-chord sounds kind of cool, and it was probably familiar to them. They'd heard it before, but it was like hadn't been really used in pop music. Oh, really? For where? Sorry, Sam is saying, boom, boom, boom. There is a link listed just underneath the video screen. Boom, boom. Let's see. Oh, you know what? But Arnab, where are you located? Sometimes, so the link for Arnab's asking, where's it? This Discord invitation shows invalid. Interesting. So, yeah, it worked for me just now, but I don't know. That may be where you're located. It may be a blocked. Have you ever been on Discord before? Does Discord work at all? Because it may be a block thing. Let's see. So, Sam, where does it? You said it actually goes to a 2/4 bar. I missed that because I just did it straight, as you can see, in 4/4 all the way through. But it's 19 bars total, and that's not, you know, that's not totally unusual. Bob Dylan would do that kind of thing all the time, although he would do it on the fly. Sometimes his band was really good at just like listening, like, oh, is he going to add a bar here? Okay, he did. Let's go. Yeah, pretty funny to hear him talk about it. Oh, in Singapore. Yeah, maybe it's a Singapore thing. Singapore is a little bit more restrictive on stuff like social media things, I know. But what are you trying to access? If you're trying to access I can send you maybe the Dropbox link will work. Let me send you the Dropbox link for it, because I did upload it to my Dropbox link. Let's do that. So this one, I think, is the... So try this, and then you should be able to... Thanks, Bruce. All right. So... let me do the screen grab of this, and then I'll post it here, and we can practice that first phrase. Basically, it's the first phrase is done twice. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're also going to knock it up an octave. All right, and I'm going to let you use your ear for that. So we're not necessarily going to. We won't be in first position for the second half of this melody. We can play the first half of the melody in open position, but we won't be in open position for the second half because the notes, if we knock it up an octave, it's going to be too far. So, oh shoot, dang it, I'm going to have to put this up here. No, wrong way. There we go. Okay. All right. So now the thing that's interesting about this too, especially the B section, it's almost exclusively played with your second finger. I'm not gonna solo the second finger, okay? But we have third finger in here on this one. We have several third finger notes, so that's, we have a C and a G. We're gonna need to get those two notes, but the first finger is not involved at all. In fact, I don't think the first and fourth finger are used at all in this entire song in the key of G. If we were in the key of C, we would, okay? And that's not including the chords. If we're playing the chords, obviously on the C chord, we're going to need to use your first finger. And on the G chord, I'm playing with my pinky. But I'm talking about melody-wise. So first two notes, B, C, D. Okay, and again, looking at the music, it's chord notes. 1, 2, and then what you're seeing is 3, 4. So that's called a pickup. So you're picking up, you're playing the first three, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, so that's the pickup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, and then we have the lick. So we're going to hammer on. And Michael Houghton, you're just going to have to hammer on in your mind. Okay. And again, we talked about hammer-ons. You're going try to drive that finger through the fretboard and get close to that fret, not on top of the fret, but just behind it. You'll get more immediacy. Now, at a really slow tempo, it's really hard to play that first note as an eighth note. You kind of want to go, okay, but try to resist that. Ba, 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 ba. You can even practice that. It's not... That's a different lick. That would be what we call a grace note, right? Okay. And then, so, and again, when we do that hammer on, as soon as you go to the open G string, then take your hand off because you're going to want this second finger for this B note here. And that I would practice. Okay, and then we have C, B, A, and then, okay, now the pull off is different than the hammer on. It's not, I'm not pulling off like this. I'm literally, should be called a pull down. I'm pulling down and re-plucking. And I'm actually deadening the D string with my pick so that I don't go like this, okay, when I pull down. So a pull off is really a pull down. And then immediately put that finger on F sharp. And then go to the G. It's a nice little, you can really hear the D, the 5 to 1 movement in that lick. Okay. Okay, then it does it again. Now, you could do, if you want to do a variation on that, maybe the second time, you go, take the B note, pull off to the A, and then hit the low E string, F sharp and G. Kind of gives you momentum into the G chord. Also, if we were doing the key of C, right? Okay, and I might even put a pickup of the A before the B, so it's or something like that, where I give it a little bit, just so that the first phrase is, the second phrase is different from the first phrase. Makes it a little bit more interesting, okay? So I kind of leave that up to you. And that will also aid you when it comes time to solo, because what you're doing when you're creating a little variation is you're giving yourself you're acquainting yourself with the concept of theme and variations, and that's really one of the best ways to think about a guitar solo is to really to keep the melody in there somehow, some way, you know, whether it's rhythmically, whether it's melodically, whether it's harmonically. But that's a good way to at least start to construct a solo. And again, I've talked about this a lot over the whole year. But when you're soloing, you're essentially spontaneously composing. And some are far better than others. Some can do it like, yeah, it's unbelievable. I've actually, you know, in the studio, in fact, I just did a solo on a record, yeah, on a Spanish record. And I was working with the Black Eyed Peas, Taboo from the Black Eyed Peas, who's a friend of mine. I played on a track of his a couple days ago. Now that I didn't take a solo on, but I did do some soloistic kind of things on it. I don't, because solos don't really exist too much in pop music, but they're kind of coming back. I think that you might start to hear them again, which would be interesting. But I did have to do several passes till I got. Basically, what happens is I let the track go and I just do what I think the first time, and I go, okay, well, I didn't like any of that. Let's do it again. I do it again, and it's like, okay, I like that lick in the middle. Okay, let me learn that lick so I know it now, and then, okay, now I got to come up with a better entrance, and I come up with a better entrance. I got the middle. I don't have an end. So then I just, you know, it may take me 10 minutes to compose a solo for a record or something like that, you know. Sometimes it's the first take. If I'm in the studio with other people, it's almost always the first take. I don't know. I play better when I'm in the studio with a lot of people. Plus, they often are like so blown away by whatever you do that they're like, "That's it." I'm like, "Really?" Because I can do better. No. We like that. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm not going to be listening to the record, so once it's out, I won't ever hear it. Hey, Mugu, what's going on? So there's that, but doing slight little variations on the melody is essentially, you know, a way to construct a solo. Okay, so then the third phrase, we're going to come back to this in a second, but I'm going to remove this. All right. The third phrase is a little different, but very simple. And this is, look at this. It's all zeros and twos when we're looking at the tab, okay? It's all zeros and twos, and I apologize for the lines looking kind of funny, but unless I make it really big, that won't go away. So, touch my face, let's take a drink. It's one of our drinking game rules. So remember the pickup though. The pickup did start with the third finger, right? No, I'm sorry. No, this pickup's different. We didn't go over it. It's just open D string, open G string, and B string. So you don't even need you can do the double thing or whatever. Sorry. Ugh. Gosh. Touching my face. I only do it when I'm thirsty now. Okay. So there's our melody B. Then 2, open, D, D, E with the second finger, G, E, D. You know, another thing you could do, here's another thing you could do if you want. I'm not opposed to this. You can print up the chart. You can print up a couple copies if you want, but you could write the names of the notes in between the staff and the tab, okay? If you want to do that. Oh, does that make sense? So that way you can kind of, you can write B, C, D. You can start to see those, you can start to memorize the notes on the fretboard, okay? And then technically you've got 3 ways that you can read the chart. You could read the notes, you could read the letters, and you could read the numbers. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. So to have those options. They're all 3 different ways of communicating. Okay, There are 3 different ways of communicating music, and all 3 of them are legit. So, although the most legit is the top music. Okay, music notation. That's the most legit. All right. So we have B, open B string, and then B, A, G, D, D, E, G, E, D. Again, all open strings and second fingers. That's it. Remember the pickup. Sorry, I always forget it. Pickup. Okay, now try this. Okay, play that. The pickup, D and G string. Now, to play the B, I want you to play the G chord and stop at the B, okay? So you're going to have your hand on the G chord. Okay? And then play the B and the A. And now we're going to go to the G string as the next melody note. We're going to play the G chord to the G chord. I mean to the G string. So I'm playing basically a 4-string G chord. Okay, then we're going to hit the open D, and we're going to hit C there. I mean, sorry, the E, but we could play this C, where I have the third pinky on the C and the third finger on G, so I have at least a 3-string C chord, or you can just play those 2 notes, okay? And what you're essentially doing is kind of creating a slight little chord melody. I'm trying to make this, if this is too simple for some of you, I'm trying to make it a little bit more, difficult, to give you a new skill or something. So we got this. See that? So you essentially kind of playing a chord melody. And I could even play more than 1 chord per bar, like I did there. Down chord, chord, note, chord, chord, note, chord, note, or chord, note, chord, like that. If you wanted to even get a little bit more complex. And what that will do will help you build into being a little bit more full sounding in even when you're playing rhythm. Now, I might not play that for that first bar. I might just play this. Okay? But it kind of gives you some options and to realize, to kind of keep in your mind what chords you're playing over when you're playing the melody notes, because that's really important. Hey Art, what's going on? Okay, and again, because we've been playing over in the key of G so much, we've got all these scales that we have at our disposal if you remember them. So like for example, I go. See, I just did a little Mixolydian scale. If I want to do maybe a G minor pentatonic, it would sound like this. Right? That's a totally different vibe. Let's say I go D major, or G major, sorry, G major, which would have an F sharp in it. So we went. It's pretty, that major, the major is always pretty sounding, especially with the C chord. It's that Lydian sound. That's a really cool lick right there, right? Dun, 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 dun. I like that. Basically implied, kind of implied that melody, right? It's a little bit of a stretch there, Holly, for your pinky. But that's kind of cool. So, okay, let's go to the 4th stave. Everybody's playing. I'm so glad. I can tell because nobody's talking. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. Oh my goodness. And there is no undo. Okay, give me a second. Where's the video camera? I gotta find the camera. Media source, video capture device, yes. Okay. Wait, what? Oh, device. There we go. Okay. Now the funny thing though is all my other things here are, how do I move that forward? There's got to be a way to move that forward. Order. Move up. Move to top. There we go. Okay, well that wasn't too bad. And the screen grab, this, I'm actually can do, that's what I wanted to delete. This before. It's weird because when I'm deleting something, it highlights in red, but then sometimes it highlights the screen because I'm touching the screen, to, you know, the camera. So I fixed it. Blackout. I fixed it. Hey, I'm an amateur at some things. I'm a professional guitar player, but I'm an amateur at other things. All right, so yeah, we must. If I delete the, yeah, if I accidentally delete the camera, that's a sip. I guarantee you, that's at least one sip. I'm running out of coffee though, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have to send one of you to get me coffee. If you know the lyrics, it's easy to emphasize with chords. I think a challenge of Dutch people. Oh, well, that could be true, Jan. Yeah, you know, I'm so bad at memorizing lyrics. My wife is so good at it. She's like, I wish I could memorize Bible verses as good as I could remember song lyrics. Of course, that's how she remembers Bible verses, is by turning them into songs. Hey, my daughter made it to Louisville. Yay! Okay, so here's what I intended to do. All right, so let's see how. I gotta make it a little smaller. Okay. So my daughter's the one that did the design work on that Epiphone that everybody liked. Really cool. That's so weird. It does seem light and or darker in here, doesn't it? I think it just got. I think this. Let me do that. It's sunny here. It was raining this morning, but sun's out now, so. Okay, so we went to. Actually, I like that better. You could do that a variation. This is the third line. That's cool. Okay. I always, you know how I love the fourth, how the G mixolydian scale sounds over this when you go to the 4 chord. Okay, so remember, so we left off on that D string, open D string. Oh, and then the pickup was on beat 4 of that last stave was a B note here. Again, look at all those twos and zeros. We don't have a 3 until the fourth bar, the final note of the song. Okay, that's the final note of the song, the melody. So we have B, B, A, B, D, B, A, B, A, F sharp, G. All right, so if you're writing in note names, B, B, A, B, D, B, A, B, A, F sharp, G. Lena, do you ever recommend, I don't know if Lena Chen is still on, but do you ever recommend students to write in on piano music, write in the names of the notes to help them learn the notes? I know I've seen people put on their piano, they put, in fact, let's see if I have this picture handy. I'm going to put a picture up. It's going to blow your mind. Let's see. Where would I have that? Let's see. Let's see. I don't think it's going to be there. I'm going to have to go here. Now that melody, part of the reason I want to move the melody up an octave is because that melody right there is so low on the second half of the B section that oh, weird. They're not here. Oh, I know where they are. I know where it is. I got this. I got this. That you can't play a chord below it, right? Remember what we were doing? I mean, you could play, you know, on a G chord, you know, right? You got a 3-note G chord there. I mean, you got some dyads, 2-note chords, but they're not very fun. Yeah, I touched my face. I'm running out of coffee here. I'm going to have to stop invoking that rule for me. I don't know how you guys are doing. Hopefully you're not out of. So in 2014, we went to London. And I just had worked with an engineer and a composer. And the engineer friend of mine here in Los Angeles, we've been friends for, gosh, at least 20 years. He got me in. Oh, okay. Did I take video of that? Oh, really cool. Oh, it's going to take a second. I'm going to give it a second to load screen caps because I can't tell which picture it is. I don't have them named. I just image 120, blah, blah, blah. Here, it's going to be up close up front. Oh, okay, here it is. All right. Oh, did it do it? No. What's this? Okay. Well, let me try this. Let's see if I can. This may be too big of an, well, it's not that big of an image. Well, the funny thing is not what I remembered. They just put down stickers on here. I thought they wrote letter names. Now, why is that picture not showing up? Is it back? No? Huh. That's so weird. Let me do it this way. Image. Ah, there it is. Okay. So that's my hand. Okay. Which you're very familiar with. See the marks on that piano? Was Lena there still? I don't see her. Okay. That's the Lady Madonna piano. Isn't that cool? Lady Madonna and also Martha My Dear. That's the piano that Paul played those on. Isn't that crazy? Look at somebody took some of the ivory off. Probably as souvenirs, which is like really cheesy, but I love how the piano keys are marked. Probably because some artist or band or whatever. Yeah, Tom's a CSI. Exactly. Okay. I thought that's pretty cool. I can keep that up here for a minute. I'll just make it really small. Until somebody asked me, what's the piano for? Okay, so let me get rid of that. Let's go back to the first phrase. Sorry, just my daughter texted something. Okay. Yeah, the ivory's been worn out. I think it's they broke off. That's actually like what you're seeing there is the glue of the original ivory that they put on. It looks broken off to me. In fact, I remember it being broken off. I was like, that's just. But you know, somebody's got, hey, I got a piece of the piano. It's like, I don't know. Exactly, those are forbidden keys. Do not hit those notes. Well, what are the notes? Let's see. That's E, B, and G sharp. So it's just a E major, and then there's another E there. So it's just an E triad. It's like you can't learn your E triads. It's so lame. Yeah, no, they're not dirty. It was actually, you could see the line where, because when they put them on, it's two pieces of ivory. You can see the line on the piano keys that are normal. So somebody just snapped those off. It's like, oh man. Hopefully they have a count. They count them. Story time. Yeah, Madison Hotel. Yeah, we're getting there. I got work for you guys. Hold on. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so we are going to go back to that first phrase. All right, we're going to try to play this up an octave. All right. So the first three notes are B, C, D. All right, and it's played down here. This is key of G. Okay, so now move that up an octave. So here's a B. If you've been warming up with your octave, okay, you might know where the octave of the B is. Okay, the octave of the B of this note here, the first note of the melody, is one of them is right here, the open B string. That one would make the most sense. Okay. Okay, and then C is here, and D is here. Okay. Okay, so that's another way you could play that melody. Well, playing that melody there too also gives me that kind of option of having that G string. You could do that. I'm playing the B with the G and with the G string, also C with the G string and D with the G string. Or I could separate those. Okay. Now the next two notes, originally we had a hammer on. Next three notes, sorry. We did that. We could go a D and an E and a G. Now see, here's the advantage of reading the music, because in my head, all I do is just take the music up an octave. I'm just imagining those notes being an octave higher. In other words, I'm seeing B, C, D, and I go, well, I could go B, C, D here, or I could go here. Okay? But if you're reading tab doesn't afford you any real ability to transpose or knock up an octave or anything. Ark, have a question? Should I take a guitar fret in a similar way to help certain notes? Yeah, I mean, you could. If it was on the fretboard, you wouldn't see it. On my oud, I have tape. I got little strips of tape, and I, put it so I could find the pitches. But it's also a $300 oud, so I'm not really worried about. If you've got a really expensive guitar, then maybe you would want to do that. But the thing is, the notes it's only going to be good on one string. So you're not really, you can't, you just got to memorize them. You know, because you could write, you could have notes here, but that's only going to tell you one string. So unless you had all 6 strings listed everywhere, that would just be a chaos. The other thing, the reason I did on oud is fretless. So all I'm marking is the point where you're in a perfect diatonic position chromatically. So I did that on my oud. You've probably seen it before, and it helps me play more in tune. So yeah, it wouldn't make any sense to do that on guitar. There was a fret light one, again, which is silly because you'd have to play guitar like this to see it, you know, but it was like, I can't tell what light is on. It didn't really catch on. So, but there's that first one. Now, you could do the next phrase, the D to E to G. Okay? That way, or I love that. And then let the 2 notes ring out together. And then you're going to go to that open B string again. So, just like we did this as one phrase or one practice lick to kind of loop. As we did that, we also, let me do this, give you a little more volume. As we practice that, you could do it. Or if you want. But I feel like that's more musical. And what I mean by that, more musical, because both of these are music, right? But oftentimes I'll have composers say, make it musical, or make it more musical. In other words, make it sound like you're playing music, not like you're, you know, like if you highlight some text on a document and say, read it to you, it does it with that robot voice. Make it sound like you're making music and not a robot you're a human making music, not a robot making music. So that would be legit, literal, but this would be more musical. Okay? So what I'm doing is I'm on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and I'm sliding up to the 5th fret. Hey Gary, what's going on? I think we have a new rule to add to the. If I accidentally delete the video capture device, we went blank for a second because I was trying to delete the music and I deleted the video capture device by mistake. It's real easy to do. I have to be very deliberate about what thing on the screen I want to delete, and it's very, very thin little red line around the thing that I'm actually highlighting, and so it makes it real easy to accidentally delete the wrong thing because I'm not paying attention. Well, that's good. Oh. Yeah, you could do that, Art. I mean, you know, I'm not, it's hard to get the sticker underneath if you're doing the fret, hard to get a sticker on it. But yeah, if you wanted to have like a kind of an anchor, like, or a pivot point, and like, oh, if I know where all the A's are, that really helps. If I know where A is, I know where B is, I know where G is, I know where I go A to the 5th, that's D and E, you know, things like that. Sure, that not necessarily a bad thing. Ruh-roh. I'm sorry, Rarge. Rarge. Astro. So that would be the same lick up an octave as the 2nd lick in the, okay? And then that's easy. So the C, B, A, and then again we have another thing where we could do that, but Holly's not going to like that. It's music, fingering wise, it's not very easy to play the open B, the 2nd fret, and then the 4th fret. So what I would do is I would go ahead and play instead of open B, I would play the fretted B note here at the 3rd fret of the 3rd string and pull off to your 1st finger and go down to that F sharp. So your pinky's not even involved in this transaction here. So we have, or you maybe I might even, when I go to that A note, a lot of what makes you able to play fast, and we've talked about this many times as well, is to be prepared, or prepare, think about the next thing that you're going to do. And if you know that you're going to be doing this, then you might want to go first finger in open, and then first finger on this note, even though it's a second fret. But now you're already in position to do this lick. And then that next note is G, open G, so you just hit that and let it ring. Okay? It's kind of the Boy Scouts motto, right? Be prepared. So you're preparing in advance, you're getting ready. It's the same thing with the rest stroke, the through stroke, classical guitar, we talked about that. But I didn't do it there, though. That's kind of cool. Hit the open B string before you hit the fretted B note. You could also play it like that, open B string first, but just move your hand here. So you're not doing this. You could use your first and third finger instead of your second and fourth finger. So. Now, so the second phrase is the same as the first, but the B section, let's see, remove, okay, make sure it's highlighted in red. Okay, remove, yes. All right. So, okay, get back to work, Gary. Oh, nice. Wow. Very cool. So you're actually going to be at the local watering. You're actually going to be there doing it. That's awesome. I'm so glad. All right, so here's the third phrase. Now, so this is more difficult because now we're getting up into the higher range of the guitar. So the question is here, because now we're in a more mid-range of the guitar, do we need to knock this up an octave? So in other words, you don't necessarily need to take the B section up an octave as well. You don't necessarily have to, because you're going to get... Okay? Now, but technically what we're doing here is... all those notes there are in pentatonic number 5. So if you remember our pentatonic shapes, then this is pentatonic number 5 in the key of G major. Some of this might be familiar, but it's definitely going to be nowhere near the tab that's written. But I might do something like that, where I just, for that whole phrase, this whole line, I might go, see that? It's a bugle call. Remember we talked about bugles only having overtones, and so they're only playing, oh no, was it? Bugles can only do the overtone thing. So, it's kind of like, there's your bugle notes right there. There's your triad, just the D shape up here at the 7th fret. The D shape makes a G chord at the 7th fret. Okay, same. So that's fairly easy to play. The only thing is you got that pinky note right there. Okay, so there's the melody up an octave in one position. I could go, there's a couple different ways I could do it, but I almost like the idea of, jumping up here. Now, the advantage to doing here is that I can play that G string with it. You kind of get that G string ring in there, and you get it. That's kind of pretty. Okay, but I can still do that here. Okay, and I'm just kind of having fun with the pick. AJ's thinking about it. AJ's thinking about making an appearance at Gary's show. That would be freaking hilarious. I know we still do need to, when the COVID thing's over, we're doing a meet and greet. I'm setting up a meet and greet, but the thing is, so what I have to do is we have to take all of your locations, right? And we have to average them out, and wherever the most central point, somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, like about 400 miles off the coast of New York, is going to be the center point of all of the people in Australia and India and Nevada and California and Wisconsin and Florida and Holland and London and David Sillers in Scotland. We'll put a pin right there. Now we'll probably do a California meet and greet, maybe. We'll see. I can't imagine. I don't think there's enough people here to just justify it. It'll be one person showing up. It'll be Michael Houghton and Dan. Hey, David Sillers, right when I mention your name, you show up. In Bermuda. There you go. Now you're talking, Hook. Yeah, I don't think I have enough. I don't think I have enough charisma to start my own guitar camp. Right? We could do a week in like Montana. That would be kind of cool in the summer, or Idaho. That would be dope. Tom Strahle guitar camp. I just don't think I could generate enough revenue to take a week off from work. For ARC. Ah, there you go. Yep. Thanks, Dennis. And again, my trick for memorizing the notes on the neck is to write down all the possible note names on a piece of paper, and it actually is like, I mean, if you don't include C flat and B sharp, but all the ones you're likely to see, A sharp, B flat, B, C sharp, D flat, E, F sharp, G flat, G sharp, and A flat. If you write all those, that's 15 different pieces of paper or note cards. If you write them all down, then you basically shuffle them like a deck of cards and pull them out one at a time, and you pull out, say, an F, and you find an F on every string, starting on the lowest string, going to the highest string in order. Don't like go, oh, I know where the first string, or, the sixth string and the fourth string, and I know the third string and the first string. Don't do that. Go straight across the fretboard. It'll take you a while. It may take you a while to find that one note. The F note maybe take a while on the B string or on the G string. It may be like, where the heck is that F note? You may have to use your ear. That's okay. But work your way through that stack every day. And it may take you 10 minutes the first time, or 20 minutes even. But then a month later of doing that every day, you may be able to get basically 5 seconds per note. You could literally go through the stack in 2 or 3 minutes. So, dang. Let's see, what's the temperature here? It's cold out there. I'm just messing with you. Oh, it's 57. Yeah, well, we're going to have 120 at some point, so we'll get ours. You forgot today was a stream. Yeah, you blew it, Aslan. We've been talking about you the whole time, too. So, I'm out of coffee, dang it. I can still have infractions, but okay. So let me get rid of this. Oops. Oh, see, I almost did it again, guys. I almost deleted the camera. And if you're wondering what that piano is, that is actually, see, I was talking about how they mark the piano, so you can see E, B, E, and G sharp with the red things. That's an E major triad chord. I don't know who did that. I guarantee it's not from the 60s. But this is the piano that the Beatles used for Lady Madonna and Martha My Dear. It's an upright piano. The grand piano that was used for like Hey Jude and Let It Be was kind of behind some organs and stuff. I couldn't get to it to get a picture, so I was kind of bummed about that. But Tom, as mentioned, that's where Mabel Carter was playing at Capo 5 at C chord shapes. I thought she was at the 7th fret. When I looked it up, Wildwood Flower. It's the first one that comes up. Yeah, I don't know what show it was on, but there. This definitely wasn't on.
We now have
quiet. This definitely was not on. This is older. Predates the. Oh, they're really hauling. So let's see, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Maybe she is at the 5th fret. I can't. Let me see. No, she's at the 7th fret there. So this one, I don't know if this is the one you're talking about, but I don't think this is Johnny Cash. I think this is way before that. Yeah, I know this is way before that. But that's the one where she's playing at the. So if she's playing at the 5th fret, that would mean her guitar's tuned up a whole step. I don't think that's. I think she's probably. Let me see. You could post it though. I would love to see it. The Wildwood Flower. Now that she's playing capo at, I don't know where she's at. There she looks, yeah. That's a 3rd fret. She's got the capo at 3rd fret, but she's probably playing in a different key for Johnny's voice. So, anyway. Yeah, that video is really old-timey. That's way before. I don't know if this is the one you're talking about, but this is a Johnny Cash show, and that's Mabel. That's not June. That's Mabel, because she's definitely old. Yes, she's. And it's cool. She's playing that arch top. I love that, and they got a little microphone there. It's really cool. I'll have to watch that a little closer. All right, so, okay, so I got to tell the Madison story, right, Holly? So, Dan will show up, even if it's Bermuda. Oh man, I wait for my coffee. Dang it, it's gone. I may have to get another one. It's early enough. I can get another coffee. Get out of the house. I got some work to do, but Catherine's in the house. Oh no, your sister-in-law's uncle passed away from COVID. Bummer. So, okay, story time. Yeah, Holly. So, back in 79, see, this would have been, I think, the spring of 1980. I was playing in the jazz band at my college and at Butler University, and I was we had a tour that we're going to do. And in fact, I told this story a while ago. I think it was on the way up to Madison because we were going to do this big band. I don't think it was a competition. I just think it was like a big band event where there a bunch of college big bands were going to play. So we were going to play, set up and play, a song, 2, 3, 4 songs or whatever, and somebody else was, another college, a bunch of colleges were going to play at this event, and I guess it would be fairly well attended or something. I don't know. It's an annual thing, and the university paid for this. I don't think I had to pay for anything, but they basically put us, got the bus, and we're about 20 musicians. Big band would be like rhythm section plus 5 trumpets, 5 trombones, and 5 saxophones. The rhythm section had drummer and bass, guitar, piano, conductor, director, maybe a couple other people, ancillary people. And they got us hotels as well. Now, I think, I don't remember. I think we stopped in Indiana somewhere on the way up to Wisconsin, up to Madison, and we played, played at a high school, did a high school show, and then the local judge hosted a meal at his house. So we had a big giant potluck. He set up a table in his living room and had all this food, and he had he was the judge on the trial where the Ford Pinto got rear-ended and caught on fire and the people died in it. And it was like kind of the exposure that you don't rear-end a Ford Pinto. So he literally had pinto beans on the table that said Ford Pinto bean Pinto trial beans or something like that. I was like trying to make a joke out of it. I was like, I guess I thought it was corny, but probably also close to inappropriate. But he was the judge that presided over the case that where that happened. And so, in fact, I wonder if Wikipedia has a Ford Pinto trial. Wikipedia. Of course, maybe I'm totally Ford Pinto. Grimshaw versus Ford Motor Companies, probably. Injured in the case. Let's see, this says California appeal. It must have been another case. There may have been more than one of those cases. Wow, $127 million in damages. Really? Oh, more than 100 lawsuits. Okay, brought against the Ford. Okay. So, yeah, there were a lot of lawsuits. So, yeah, those Pintos were, I think what it was that the gas, did you put the gas in the back? And what was happening, you got rear-ended, the hose, the pipe that was used to fill the tank would puncture the tank, and then it would explode. It ended up being a thing that was, a lot of cars had the same problem, and so they totally changed the design, and it changed, generally, it's just like, when there's, this didn't happen in the Soviet Union, but whenever there was a problem with a product, and a corporation was going to lose a lot of money on it, they usually fixed the problem. It didn't happen in Soviet Russia. If the government made a car and it had a problem, they didn't care. People died. Hey, what are you going to do? Sue the Politburo? It ain't going to happen. You'll end up in Siberia. So they had. Sorry, microphone got weird. So we stopped there. We did a show and we ended up in Madison, and we get up to Madison. We get to the hotel, and the hotel is right across the street from the. It was a pretty old hotel too. It was right across the street from the State House, and we're tired. I mean, that's a pretty long in a bus. It's a pretty long drive that we did, and I'm assuming we stayed at a family homes probably, or maybe, I don't know if we brought sleeping bags. I don't know. We were a bunch of college students. The only thing I remember is that the lady that was the keyboard player, she was probably in her 50s. She was going back to college, and she was actually a very good piano player, and she could play the jazz, the big bands, and she could read and everything. So it was really cool. She was hilarious. We had a blast, but I don't remember many of the other musicians. It's funny, but so we get to Madison, we get to the auditorium, the university where they're having this big giant annual college big band festival, and we were a week early. The band director was completely off by a week. We had booked hotels, rented a bus, we'd driven all the way up there. We'd booked gigs up there and back, and he had the wrong weekend. It was totally the wrong weekend. I'm like, are you kidding me? And so, so we go back to our hotel, and we were like, well, okay, we didn't really have much to do, and so got a bunch of college students that are really bored. We were going to spend the whole day playing jazz and watching jazz, and we had nothing to do. And so in the middle of the night, the alarm goes off in the hotel, and so we all have to evacuate our rooms, and there was a fire in one of the rooms. One of the rooms caught on fire. And it was the drummer's room. He had lit a Roman candle off on top of the TV. The TV was plastic, had a plastic case, and it melted, and the curtains caught on fire, and the alarm system went off in the room. And the whole the whole hotel had to be evacuated. I wonder if there's a Wikipedia page for the hotel fire in 1980 in Wisconsin. But only that room was burned, fortunately. But I don't know if the sprinklers kicked on. I don't remember, because maybe. But it's like, oh man, we had so much trouble. I think the drummer got kicked out of the band. I think that was it for him. But yeah, in the age of social media, I don't think that thing happens very often, where you show up at a gig and it's like, oh, it's next week. Oh shoot, okay. Because everything's so publicized now, and everything's so connected, and you say, hey, yeah, I'm going to go to your show, and all of a sudden it shows up in your calendar, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't remember doing that. And it's like, well, you merged your Facebook with your Google Calendar, and therefore if you say yes to something on Google on Facebook, it's going to show up on your calendar. I'm like, oh dang it, So yeah, so that kind of thing probably wouldn't happen. Is likely to happen today. I remember doing that one weekend though. I went down to I took the family down to San Diego because I agreed to play at a church for this thing, and we drove all the way to San Diego, which was like a 3-hour drive from our house. And I get to the church, and it's all locked up, and I'm like going, we're supposed to have a rehearsal today. Where is everybody? And I did have a cell phone. It was the very beginning of that. It was like my first cell phone, and I called the guy, Aaron, great guy. I love Aaron, and he said, dude, it's next week. I said, you're kidding. He goes, no. I said, oh, well, I'm booked next week. I can't do it. He goes, oh, no. So he had to get another guitar player. And I had given up gigs for that weekend, so I was out a bunch of money, plus all the gas money, and plus I booked a hotel and everything. So we just did, we'll just have a family day off or something, and so we did that. I think what we did was we went to, I took the family for the tour of the Taylor Guitar Factory. And we all did that together, which was fun. We homeschooled, so it was totally like on a Friday. And then after that, we went up to the church. And then that was when I found out that was the wrong weekend. So. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, clicking. Yeah, if you click them. But you can always join my stream again. If I click on it, then I leave the stream. And that's what's funny. I did that accidentally the other day. So, yeah, I'll check that one out. Okay. Open in a new tab. All right. Oops, something went wrong. Well, that didn't open. Weird. Oh, because it opened in studio. Weird. Studio mode. I can fix that. Okay. So anyway, that's the latest. So what am I going to do for Monday? I'm not exactly sure what we're doing Monday yet. Maybe start working on this song a little faster. Try to play through it together. Well, we'll start playing through it at 100, and we'll go through that a few times. So that won't take very long. The other thing is I might do another version in C so we can have C. Again, that link, and I posted it in the Discord, but just so you have it, The link of my video is, where is it here? So here's the link for that. And that's the Wildwood Flower in G. Okay, so I will, I need to go. I've got some work, but I will talk to you all later. And talking movies, exactly. Alternate versions of F and B chords. Okay, on Monday, remind me. The B chord doesn't come into play on this song, but the F would if we play it in C. But I can show you some alternate versions of F and B chords. If you watch my videos, I think I talk about that in both of those videos. That darn F chord and the son of a B chord. So you can check that out. But anyway, I'm going to end the live stream. I'll talk to you soon. Well, Monday will be the next time together. You can tell I've got work sitting here now. I got to get to. So I'll talk to you. Okay, and also let's see, where am I? Am I almost to 90,000? It's pretty slow. It's slowing down, but I should have 90,000 by the end of the month. I think I should hit 90,000 by the end of the month. I'm averaging right now. It says in 28 days I'm averaging 1,400 new subscribers. Or a plus 1,400, which is good. But at that rate, it'll be by the end of summer, I may have 100,000. We'll see. I'm not sure. And then I get a blue check or a check or something by my name. So that would be cool. Because that means that when I make comments on videos, that I might get a little bit more play from there too. So if somebody sees a blue check next to your name, making a comment, they go, "Well, why does he have a blue check?" Click on him, and boom, now I got more subscribers. So it could lead to more. 89.6, yeah, getting there, man. So, okay, guys, everybody, thank you so much. Holly, good to see you. Dennis, Bruce, thank you so much for moderating. Becker, good to see you. And I will see you all on Monday. Bye-bye.